Hi there, and welcome to This Day in History for March 25th. March 25th is the 84th day of the year in the Gregorian calendar, 85th in leap years, with 281 days remaining to the end of the year. In 2024, we have a full moon on March 25th, although by the time this episode airs, it will already have happened around 2 a.m. Central Time in the U.S. March's full moon is considered the last full moon of winter, which may be called the awakening moon, the worm moon, or the sap moon, to name a few. Today's word is kibosh. Kibosh is a word I've heard my whole life, figuring out approximately what it meant in context. To put the kibosh on something means to put a halt or a stop to it, usually an activity or behavior. As I look it up, sure enough, kibosh is a noun that means something that serves as a check or a stop, usually used in the phrase, put the kibosh on. This word is of mysterious origin, though, kibosh is. It seems to make its first appearance in English language usage in the early 1800s. It has been thought to be, and kind of sounds like it might, have been Yiddish, but there's not much, if any, actual evidence for that. It might have come from an Irish term that meant cap of death, representing a black cap a judge would wear when pronouncing a death sentence, which would certainly go along with the concept of putting a stop to something. While I'm confident that the word kibosh was in use for a good while before, the first documented use of the word kibosh is in about 1830. Kibosh. Today's word kibosh was suggested by YouTube viewer Ginger Rush at GingerRush7536. Thanks, Ginger. And if you have a word you'd like us to examine in this Word of the Day segment, drop it in the comments. We'll take a look at it. And with that, you might be aware of the city of Venice, Italy, famous for its waterways and gondolas. Venice is located in northeastern Italy and is built on a group of 118 small islands in the shallow Venetian lagoon between the mouths of two ancient rivers. The islands of Venice are separated by canals and linked by over 400 bridges. We mention this today because while the area is known to have been inhabited by fishermen since way before people began keeping records, Venice is considered to have been founded on March 25th in the year 421 with the dedication of the San Giacomo di Rialto Church, the first church on the islet of Rialto. Saturn's largest moon, Titan, was discovered by Dutch astronomer Christian Huygens on March 25th, 1655. March 25th, 1948, when the first successful tornado forecast predicted that a tornado would strike the Tinker Air Force Base in Oklahoma. Weather forecasting was still fairly primitive in 1948, especially compared to today's technology and abilities. A tornado had hit Tinker just a few days earlier on March 20th of that year. Then on March 25th, meteorologists noticed nearly identical weather conditions as what had occurred on the 20th and issued a tornado forecast. This forecast was confirmed when the tornado struck the base again on the evening of the 25th, making it the first official tornado forecast and the first successful tornado forecast in recorded history. Incidentally, the first tornado on the 20th caused about $10 million in damage, and the one on the 25th about $6 million in damage, for an estimated total of about $16 million in damage, and that's 1948 dollars. Prior to this event, the Weather Bureau had a policy against issuing tornado forecasts or warnings because they were worried that the public would panic. But with the knowledge gained in this series of events, meteorologists involved issued forecasts every time they saw the conditions setting up. In the following year, 1949, they issued 18 forecasts within a 100-square-mile area, and all 18 forecasts proved successful. There was a tornado for each one of them. And eventually, the Weather Bureau allowed the public to be informed when the potential for tornadoes was seen. And on March 25th, 1965, the Civil Rights March led by Martin Luther King Jr. successfully completed the 4-day, 50-mile march from Selma, Alabama, to the Capitol in Montgomery. I've been making these videos for a few years now, so if you'd like to see what I talked about back in, say, 2020, I'll leave a link for you. Today's song is Happy Together by the Turtles, beginning its first of 3 weeks in that #1 spot on the Billboard Hot 100 on March 25th, 1967. Written by Gary Bonner and Alan Gordon, Happy Together was the Turtles' first and only #1 song in the U.S. It also reached the top 20 in a number of other countries. The early success of Happy Together led to spots on The Ed Sullivan Show and The Smothers Brothers Show and has been covered by other artists, including the Captain and Tennille, as well as being featured in movies and on television shows, giving this song a place as one of the most performed songs in the United States in the 20th century. The vast popularity of the song Happy Together also led to legal battles over copyright permissions and unauthorized broadcasts. So I won't be singing it for you here today. A sweet song with a good sound, Happy Together by the Turtles, #1 on March 25th, 1967. Link in the description. Alrighty, thank you so much for watching. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Feel free to share this video with a link in your email, messaging, or social media. If you enjoy this series, you can check out the playlist that contains these videos. I'll put a link to that in the description. That description lives on YouTube, so for other platforms, I'll include a link to my blog page that's called No Really. You can also find me on Rumble, BitChute, and Odyssey. All those links in that description. Alrighty, that's all I can think of right now. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. This is the birthday.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
I wasn't talking to you. Me and my mouth. John, are you kidding me? Okay, hold on. We got to make that be quiet. You got to read the black part. Hi there, and welcome to This Day in History where's your microphone? Okay, we don't want to say the same thing twice. Oh, get your microphone. What is it with you and this microphone? Okay, here we go. Okay, we are still recording. That's great. Okay. How about that? We'll have a lot to edit today. Cacophony is a sound. Cacophony is a noun that you got to read it the right way. Let's start over. It's 8 o'clock, so all of the reminders are going to be dinging. I forgot to turn those off. Okay, stop it. It's 8 o'clock. Don't alienate people who can be helpful to you. Flinging happiness all over the place. Alrighty, back to work. I think we got it this time.